Welcome to our true self talk today in a slightly lower voice. School has begun, and so my voice is strained, and maybe you feel a little bit of this as that all that is sitting here is kind of hard to get out. Anybody is having the same issue, not necessarily cold related, but just not getting things out right. This was one of the big themes. This was one of the big themes in the session. It was an interesting combination. Yeah, we felt this resistance off the bat. Um, we had sort of difficulties even taking a deep breath. Yeah, like really sort of going in and allowing sort of this clearing breath to come in. Yeah, so this was just right at the beginning of our energy session, just right now. And this changed then throughout the session. But let me begin here from the start. My name is Jona Bryndis, and this is the True Self Talk right after the Connect with Your True Self energy session, a remote energy session participated by over 100 people from all around the world. And I'm doing this almost for 14 years now, every month. So even if you've been here before, yeah, or if you're just watching this on YouTube, please feel free to keep coming back. Us connecting with our true self, the spirit being in us, if you will. Yeah, not the psychological true self. The psychological is it's a milestone, it's a stepping stone on the path to truly connecting with yourself. So there's a psychological component to the true self, and then there is the spiritual component to the true self. Yeah, who you truly are. And this session, I mentioned that it was very interesting for us. Yeah, so we have a group of trained energy healers in the background that are working with the field and every person's energy field. During this session, we talk live and we exchange our experiences. And what was so interesting about this session was that instead of just sort of dealing with one particular issue, it showed us all issues that arise when a person is not really fully connected within. When a person does not know how to connect, or, and this is something that was really loud and front and center here during this session, is confused about who they truly are. So, this question, who am I? Who am I? Yeah, this big mystery in life was sort of written all over our session today. And with this question came other questions on a psychological level. It raised issues about, well, if I don't really know who I am, how can I tell that the way I'm expressing myself and the way I'm regarding others, the way I'm exchanging with others, if that is even true to me? Anybody had some issues with their friends lately? Your friends acting up and telling you that you don't have enough time for them, or that you should be more this or that you're not being a good friend, anything like that? Yeah, so a little bit confrontational, yeah, claiming parts of you. Or perhaps entire groups. It could also be at work, yeah, where you are just being expected to show up. Yeah, so people are sort of trying to push in and claim parts of us right now. This is not necessarily out of malicious intent. It has something to do with this question, yeah, with whether we know ourselves. The psychological part that plays into this mechanism that I'm trying to show here is that when we are confused or when we are not authentic with ourselves, we have a tendency, and this is almost always the case, to seek for something on the outside. Yeah, to try to get what we cannot give ourselves, yeah, to try to get that from the outside, from others, from partners, from work or friends. This is a very normal and common tendency of our ego, yeah, that tries to compensate, that tries to fill up the hole, if you will. The problem with that is if a person is not aware that they are trying to get something from the external, what they are supposed to get from within themselves. As a matter of fact, where they are the only ones really that can give it to themselves, conflicts arise. Those conflicts can be inner conflicts, yeah, and they can be outer conflicts. They can lead to confrontation. They can lead to, you don't have enough time to me. For me, you don't love me anymore. Da da da. In relationships, to, am I not important enough for you? Is this not reason enough for you to prioritize me in your life more? And that said, it's not necessarily wrong, because sometimes we have to ask ourselves that. Yeah, are we showing up for our friends? Are we showing up for the people in our lives that are important for us? And I'm sure many of you sometimes feel guilt or regrets that they're not. But the point is a different one. Yeah, this is the psychological part of that. So we always kind of have to find the balance here. The point that I'm trying to make is that if we are not aware of or not true with ourselves, yeah, if we're not aware of the fact that we are not true with ourselves, we will try, all of us, we will try to get this from the outside. Those of us who are aware, yeah, who have a good inner reference for when they're true with themselves, don't do that. And so a lot of times what happens, I mean, we still do it, but not with the same intensity. Because we recognize that in the moment where we feel at unease, where we feel niggly or grumpy or, just off, that it is our responsibility, yeah, to bring back inner peace, to bring back congruence into our lives. This is our first and foremost most priority. And I think this is why this question, who am I, was so front and center here in this Connect with Your True Self session. Because if we really have no clue, yeah, and this is not unusual, yeah, that we cannot fully answer this. But if we have no clue that there is a part in us, and that's beyond the psychological, that there is a part in us that is unchanging, that is eternal, if you will, yeah, that is connected with our soul, yeah, and that is basically always there, even if we can't fully connect with it, just like the sun. Yeah, at nighttime, the sun is gone, but just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So my tip for you, yeah, to sort of follow this guidance here that I received, or that we here, the healers that did the session, for you, is to focus on who am I really? And of course, with that come questions such as, what do I truly need? What do I truly want? Again, that's more the psychological part that relates to this lifetime and all the things that you do. But this is where we have our confusions. Our true self-identity, our true identity is not determined by what we do, guys. It is determined by who we are. And becoming able to answer that requires us to look farther than just at our behaviors or the way we spend our time or, how much like quantitatively we are showing up. Who we are is a deep, deep feeling that we are all set to explore, that we are all here for in this physical lifetime to discover. And if we cannot answer this for ourselves, then that's not a failure. It means that we are still in the process of determining that. And if we are still in the process of determining who we are, we cannot fully assume, that our relationships, our job choices, our choices where we live, whom we want to live with, etc., that they are fully congruent, that they are fully authentic. We cannot assume that. We have to assume that for the most part, all these interactions with others, with jobs, with living conditions, and geographical location, even sort of the tribal environment that you're exposing yourself to, and of course partners and family, that these are all other true selves basically that are here on the same journey and that are in our life to help us figure this out. In other words, nothing and nobody has the right to claim a part of you. Not if you know who you are. You are a soul with a body. You are a soul that is trying to connect, with their true self. You're not a body with a soul. You're not a body that is trying to connect with your true self. You see? The true you, the I am in you, has nothing to do with whom you identify with in this lifetime. Male, female, or anything in between. Tall, short, Northern or Scandinavian or African or South American, doesn't matter. These things are not who you are. These things, these parameters in this lifetime, they are like little chance cards. Okay, they're not really by chance, because when we investigate this a little further, and many of you have already done this, this is what we do here at transCODES and the Sacred Self-Healing Community, you come to the conclusion that some of these cards, they are not there randomly. Those conditions, the family that you were born into, the country, the relationship partners that you chose when you were not quite that aware yet, the job choices that you made when you were not really sure what you wanted to do, those are all helpers. Those are all opportunities for you to uncover who you are. And you know how this works? By bringing you to the edge of what you can tolerate, of what you can understand. And whenever you arrive at a point where nothing seems to make sense, you are like the fish that swam to the edge of the shore and is realizing, whoa, there's a whole world out there outside of the water. Something for me to uncover. And I can choose to turn around and stay within my safe environment, my comfort zone, or I can choose to grow myself little legs, or however you picture this in an evolutionary sense, and try to figure out how far I can go, how much farther I can develop, how much farther I can sort of push myself to become the highest potential of what I can be. This is how this goes, guys. We're getting pushed to the edge. And if you feel pushed right now, be it by outer conditions or by your friends or family or, whatever, current events or whatever, then I want you to be very, very conscious. And I want you to understand that this is a huge opportunity for you, for me, for all of us right now to grow beyond our limitations. And when you see the world and yourself this way, answering the question, who am I, becomes a whole different conversation. Because if you answer the question, who am I, with, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm this, that's what I do, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm this or that, then you are still in your comfort zone. You're still using sort of outer labels to define who you are. And mostly, really, you're just saying, what are you doing? Not so much who you are. In the invocation here for the connect with your true self, there's a passage in here, okay, in which we specifically express our intention to be our true self at all times, and also to accept the evolutionary journey of other true selves. And right here is where we sort of get trapped or get confused. Okay? So, what I am seeing right now is that the majority of us is being pushed to the edge of understanding yourself. And this creates tension in you, this creates friction in you. And that friction is mostly stuck here in your third chakra right now. And you see, when your third chakra, when your solar plexus chakra, when that gets clogged up, what happens is that you can't actually access your heart chakra, your center of your center, the place where these energies, these conflicts about identity, and willpower, where they could be released. So whenever you feel, that you're not really getting a good in-breath, okay, the first thing you need to do is kind of like stretching, is to specifically sort of guide the breath through your lungs, and allow all that to fully expand, especially also your diaphragm. So belly breathing. Open up your container, What happens is that you now, in the process, release some of that pressure, and you can connect with your heart. And your heart is the part of you that connects you with this eternal being, this true self. That is the organ that you need. The heart is not just a physical organ, it is also a spiritual organ. All right. And when there is too much confusion or tension here, yeah, you can't really get into your heart. And the consequence of not really being able to connect with our heart and not really being able to feel our true self, who we truly are, is that all guidance that we are receiving, even if you are an experienced meditator, or if you usually have good access to your guidance, to your higher guidance, but if your heart chakra is clogged, you cannot assume that any of the guidance you're perceiving is true. So the more we seek for answers and guidance from the outside, the more we identify with the things that we do, that we sort of present to the outside, the less accurate our inner guidance becomes. And this then ends up, in its worst state, becoming something like expecting the world, expecting others, expecting the outside, to answer your questions. The very question that you came here for into this life. This mysterious question, who am I? This is the reason why you're here. Nobody and nothing can answer that for you. You have to want to find out. You need to want to know. And as soon as you actually state this, as you say, I want to know. I want to know who I truly am. True self, help me out here, okay? Who am I? And you let go and release all the stuff that you think you are, that you have to be, or that others told you, who you are, or, all these things. Yeah, you let all that go. All right. And you connect with the part in you that does not change from one lifetime to the next lifetime, if you believe in reincarnation. It does not change based on your biography. Yeah. Who of you here has the feeling that they have had multiple lifetimes in just this lifetime, like 5 different careers, or 3 completely different marriages, or like lifetime, like they seem to represent sort of different developmental stages of your own sort of true self-development. And that is what they are. You should never go and beat yourself up for it. You should never feel guilty for it. You should recognize. Now, this is something that we practice here at transCODES in our spiritual biography course. You should recognize that these sort of parts of your life, that they were necessary for you to unravel, identifications and dependencies and attachments, so that you could, get beyond the edge of your comfort zone. So if you feel this way, then it's actually a good sign, because that means that you have had to swim to the edge and step out of the water, those known comfortable waters, Yeah, like a fish out of the water. Okay. And explore more of yourself. And then also the review, the reflection of that, looking back, and you see how you saw yourself, how you saw the world, how you saw others, how that was completely different from how it is today. This, guys, is soul development. This is what you came here for. You came here for this exact process. So the more aware we can be about this process in our life, and the more we can sort of stop relying or stop expecting or stop waiting for something on the outside to tell us who we are, and the closer you'll get and the more accurate your inner guidance will become. There was one other aspect that I would like to mention here. So apart from how we actually reach these higher levels of authenticity and becoming able to answer the question who we are, there was another aspect, and this is very timely right now, and that has to do with protection, with energetic protection. And it also sort of plays into what I mentioned at the beginning, friends or people pushing in and claiming parts of you or your time, or sort of feeling entitled, to own parts of you. When it comes to energetic protection, it's not all just about demons, guys. You all know this, right? I mean, there's many different degrees of energies. Yeah, it's a huge scale. Yeah, and the main distinction is between what is conducive for life. Yeah, what helps you on your journey, what supports you, what empowers you, what gives you back wind, what encourages you to step out of the water. Anything that sort of makes it easier for you or helps you, all right, to fulfill your soul's mission in this lifetime. And those are what we call true energies. They're aligned to truth because they are going with what you are supposed to do, what you came here for. Energies that are working in an adversarial way, that are working against us or that make it harder for you, that create a lot of friction. And now, please don't confuse this with, the swimming to the edge. Yeah, the edge of your understanding. The edge of your understanding is always discomforting, but it is not an actual struggle. It is only a struggle if you resist it. Okay, so there's a big difference between, going through tragedies in life or experiencing trauma, okay, and, you know, coming to a point in your life where you have to make big decisions, big choices. And sometimes, yeah, while they sometimes are connected, while trauma, while, these things that we experience as tragedies or as struggle often function as catalysts. Yeah, this is not really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about darker energies or energies that are not based on truth. Yeah, so darkness in the spiritual science sense, yeah, from an energetic point of view, is anything that is not true. And even within these adversarial, these dark energies, yeah, if we just look at them, there's huge degrees. Anything from, well, self-deception to selfishness, to greed, to lust, to, all the way really to demonic. Okay, so there's a huge span here. Okay, victimhood is also part of these dark energies. Yeah, and you might actually better understand this now. I will ask you here in a moment. But the point being that if you look at energies in this way, that they can either be conducive for you, they help you to answer this question of who am I, or they kind of divert you, distract you, compel you, tempt you away from it. All right. Then there is an element of, well, how can I make myself strong enough, yeah, that I can withstand those compulsions, those temptations, those pulls, okay? Yeah, the gallon of ice cream, or, wanting to be enlightened, or I don't want to go too deep into how they play out in our lives because we've talked about this a million times already. What it is that distracts us from our journey, what it is that makes us, sort of stray from our path. The point is not just that. The point here is that there are ways to strengthen your energetic immune system to make yourself feel stronger when you are in these states of confusion or compulsion or temptation or neediness or anger or grief, yeah, or apathy or shame or guilt. These are all dark, yeah, energies that can get a foothold in us. Now, they come with emotions that are very necessary for us to experience. So please don't get this confused here. You have to feeling angry is not a dark thing. It's only if you get caught in your anger, if you get stuck in your anger, and then you start making choices based on anger. Does this make sense? So there's the emotion of anger, and then there's the energetic state of anger. So everybody has a right to get angry. And it's very important that we get angry because anger is actually a way for us to move out of fear. Okay, yeah, it's much higher vibratory rate. And that's why we should never go against our anger. As a matter of fact, we should train better ways to express our anger so that it never even gets to this repression that I talked at the beginning here, that I talked about in the beginning. But anger is just one example. All right, but when we get stuck in any of these darker energies, yeah, then we talk about a state. Okay, and when we're caught in a state, that's then when we make choices based on that. Most of us, and especially right now here in 2025, are caught in a state of fear, anxiousness, or apathy. All right, and choices made from this state, yeah, from this untrue state, cannot lead to our natural evolution, cannot lead to us growing. They lead to us devolving. First stagnating and then devolving. And in that, they represent darkness. Yeah, because the darkness, yeah, holds us back from growing. The light leads us toward growing. And so there is, for all of us, depending on the depth of our understanding, yeah, of these energetic mechanisms, a need to learn a little bit about how to protect ourselves, yeah, how to make a stance. And it is not what you think. It is not through fighting or going against darkness. Think about it. If you are afraid of something, you try to go against it. Guess what happens? It just gets worse. We make a stance but basically two main actions. One is to halt, to stop. Yeah, to stop the whole whatever sort of machine or mechanism that you're caught in and say, wait a minute, how do I even know this is true? Yeah, so to actually question it. Is this really true to me? What I'm feeling right now, what I'm saying, what I am about to do, how I'm presenting myself, what I'm asking from others. Is this even true to me? How do you do that? Take a deep breath, multiple. Sometimes you have to do this for a little bit longer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In this case, here in this session, it took 40 minutes. I don't know if you felt this, but it was exactly 40 minutes. Yeah, when this sort of, accumulation of dense energies, dark energies here in our third chakra, when that popped open. Yeah, so a good 2/3 of the session was just dealing with these resistances. So the first thing we need to do is stop the whole thing, yeah, and take a deep breath and actually ask, is this even true to me? And the second thing that needs to go along with this, and guys, this is the trick, is to recall, to remember, to reiterate to yourself, to declare who you are. I am, in my case, Jona Bryndis. I am a soul with a body. I'm a true self, okay, on her way to evolve into my highest potential. This is like a prayer. And other prayers work well too. But the main point about that is that you reinforce, sort of the spiritual aspect of who you are. Because we can so easily get stuck in the psychological part. Yeah, so you reinforce that you are on a bigger journey. This isn't just about this lifetime. So the question that also came up in this session was, who am I beyond this lifetime? And that question, guys, brings back the memory. And in the spirit world, names and identities have a very, very big power. So someone who knows who they are, for real, not who they want to be, but who they are, is almost impermeable, is almost immune to these lower states, these denser, darker energies. And when we practice etheric protection, yeah, when we work this here at transCODES in our energy training club, where we learn how to navigate etheric energies, where we learn to protect ourselves and, like learn this really in a systematic way. There is another part to that, and that is that by you asking whom or whatever is trying to compromise your energy, who they are. Let me repeat this. You need to know who you are, and you need to be able to answer that question. Okay? It's not important. The wording is not important. You just really need to feel this. That makes you impervious. This makes you strong in an energetic sense, in a spiritual sense. And in reverse, you asking others, energies, entities, people, who are you? Forces them to declare themselves. And sometimes you have to do this 1, 2, 3 times. And see, the weaker the energy is, the less it's going to be able to hold its form, to hold its power. All right? And even the strongest dark energy out there that you might encounter in your dreams or in your visions or in form of people. Okay? If you call them out, they have to reveal their identity. And this is basically a law in the spirit world, and it applies to you as well. So this is why this whole sort of connecting with your true self is vital for us. We have to learn to become comfortable with answering this question. Who am I? And you don't have to have it all figured out, guys. You just gotta have the guts to declare yourself. Okay? That's it. All right? It doesn't matter if you have all questions answered. But not knowing who you are and just swaying back and forth and constantly externalizing your identity and trying to get what you need to feel yourself from the outside, that has no power. And your inner guidance is practically non-existent. So declare yourself, put your foot down, put your stake in. You don't have to fight against anything. You just got to say, this is me. This is who I am. This is what you get. All right? If you don't like the way I do things or the way I dress or the way I don't know how much time I spend on things, I am sorry that you cannot live with this. I am accepting you in the ways that you are. Unless it's harmful for me, of course, or your behavior is harmful to others. Those are natural boundaries. But I am here to grow. I am here, okay, to unlock my higher potential. I am here to evolve my soul. This is why I'm here. And I may not have all the answers, and I may never really have all the answers. It's not relevant. All you got to be able is to put your foot down and declare who you are. So all this happened in this session. Obviously, the interpretation here has to do with me doing this every day and also understanding what these energies are that we are bumping against each month. Yeah. So in our energetic tune-up each month, for those who are signing up for this session, we go through this and we analyze how that sort of specific energy signature of a month, bumps against our own energy and what it is that we need to look out for and what it is that we, can focus on. Yeah. So that we don't get swept away by these outer energetic weather conditions. Yeah. And so this month, I want to share this here with you. Pull this up. Can you guys see my screen right now? It shows the chakra man called personal resonances, August 2025. Can you all see this? Yeah. So here you see how these August energies, how they sort of work with our energy centers and what they are sort of bumping against. Yeah, so these descriptors here for the energy centers, for the chakras, they don't change. But here, these arrows that you see here is the energy that is coming in from the outside. Yeah, you see how fat these arrows are here in the first and second and third chakra. Yeah, they're really, really tempting. They're really, really, you know, I don't want to say attacking, but it feels like an attack sometimes. They're really challenging, your lower chakra energies, and especially your solar plexus, your third chakra, that has to do with, your life force, your identity. And this is also where your ego and your false self are hiding. Yeah. And you see, when you look at these, and those of you who signed up on my website, you have access to the energy calendar, and I publish this there every month. So you guys can look this up for every month. Yeah. And then you see here that it's really for the green, for the heart, for our heart chakra, important right now that we form something like a spiritual self-worth. This has to do with, declaring yourself. Yeah, I am a true self, dude. I'm not just some gal, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to make light of such a sort of serious topic. Yeah, and this is my first and foremost responsibility. Yeah, of course, I'm doing this with my loved ones, with the people that I work with the people that I come in contact with. Yeah. And this doesn't mean that I have to be sort of a narcissist running through this world just taking advantage of other people. It's not what that means. It means that I am aware of my original mission. Okay. And that really the task here is not to be anybody or anything for that matter, but is to work it out in conjunction with these energies, with these environmental energies, through people, through occurrences, events in my life. Yeah, the stuff that we have to contend with on a day-to-day level. That is sort of the shore, the edge of my understanding, and that is what will make me grow. Yeah, and whenever I run into an issue in my life where I'm confused or where I'm struggling to make a good choice, I need to do what I told you earlier. I need to stop the machine. I need to say, wait, how do I even know? Let's assume that just a mere fact that I'm confused is already proof that I am not connected with my true self. Yeah, so I need to let that go, release it. Yeah, let go of all the things that I'm holding on to white knuckles. Yeah. And let me feel myself, and then let me declare myself. And this is then also where our expression, our fifth chakra here, our throat chakra comes in. Because it needs to integrate and express in our life. Yeah, this is sort of here, the green and the blue. This is where we're at here, all of us. This is what we need to work with. But these have a tendency for us to constantly come in and distract us. The higher guidance that we are all looking for, that we are all yearning for, that we're all seeking, is a form of externalization. You got to be very, very careful with this. Yeah, so you can trust in your inner guidance, but not when you externalize who you are. Only if you know who you are. Right? And then you'll learn that a lot of times your ego does not agree with what is coming in as higher guidance, or as I wrote it here, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to us because it cannot be understood yet. So all these things that I constantly talk about, being a soul with the body, yeah, and being a true self and evolutionary process and soul development and all that. I'm sure this isn't, you know, understandable for everybody in that sort of depth, but I can assure you, yeah, and please don't take just my words for this, but I can assure you, okay, that there is something to this, and that when somebody speaks truth, that you are able to feel this, and that's your true self in you, yeah, that responds to truth. And it's mostly your ego that responds to untruth. Anyway, remember, it's always about getting to the edge, to the shore, the edge of understanding ourselves, and right there is where it happens. Here in August and continued in September, there is quite a bit that is coming in that is very hard for all of us to understand. We still need a few puzzle pieces to be able to see, actually what all the stuff that we're dealing with right now is for. So stay calm, stay patient. Yeah. Go into your serenity. Tell your third chakra to calm down, okay? And focus on the things that you can control. And let go of the things that you cannot control. That's how you can get through these chaotic times. Yeah. In full possession of your sanity. Any comments, any questions from you? Anything you would like to share? Anything that you would like to just let us know? Anybody? All right, guys, and I'm going to close this wonderful Connect with Your True Self session here in August 2025. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the description on how to RSVP for our monthly Connect with Your True Selves. Not sure exactly when the next one is. I think September 19th or something. I love you guys, and I see you again next week.